The first sign that your life is about to implode usually comes in a whisper. For me, it was literally that. Hushed voices behind the break room door that fell silent the moment I walked in. My name is Sonia, and 2 years ago, I thought I had everything figured out. I'd built Prism Creative from the ground up, turning it from a startup in my garage to a digital marketing powerhouse. I had a marriage I thought was solid, if not perfect, and a best friend who'd been my rock since college. That morning, I was running late for our quarterly review meeting. The hallway was empty except for 2 junior designers who quickly scattered when they saw me. Their faces reminded me of kids caught passing notes in class. "Morning, Sarah," I called out to my assistant as I passed her desk. She jumped slightly, minimizing whatever was on her screen. "Oh, good morning, Sonia. Emerson's already in the conference room with the team." I paused. Something in her tone was off. "Everything okay?" "Of course." Too bright, too quick. Though, Derek called earlier, said he needed to reschedule next week's consultation. My ex-husband still consulted for some of our bigger clients. It was his way of staying connected to the company he'd helped start before he decided we needed to grow in different directions and signed away his shares in exchange for a clean break. Did he say why? Private dinner plans, apparently. I nodded, but my stomach tightened. Derek hadn't mentioned any dinner plans during our brief catch-up call yesterday. The conference room was a wall of windows overlooking downtown. Emerson stood at the head of the table, commanding attention like always. 14 years of friendship, and she still had that same infectious energy that drew people in. "There's my girl," she beamed, walking over to hug me. "I was just telling everyone about the Robinson account." "The one Derek helped land?" someone asked. "Actually," I cut in, "that was mainly Teresa's pitch. Derek just consulted on the final presentation." Emerson's smile flickered for a millisecond. Right, of course. Teresa did amazing work. The meeting proceeded normally, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Little glances between staff members, the way Emerson's phone kept lighting up with messages she'd quickly flip face down. After everyone filed out, I stayed behind, pretending to review notes while actually watching Emerson gather her things. Her laptop was open, calendar visible. "Dinner tonight?" I asked casually. "That new Thai place opened downtown." "Oh, sorry, hon, I can't. Got a family thing." I glimpsed her calendar before she closed the laptop. There was nothing about family. Instead, a 7 p.m. entry caught my eye. "Meeting RE, acquisition plan, Dee's place." Dee's place. Derek's condo. "No worries," I said smoothly. "Maybe next week." "Definitely." She hugged me again, but something felt mechanical about it. That afternoon, I had IT run a routine security audit on our servers. Within an hour, they found a folder buried in Emerson's work drive, Project Vesta. It was locked, but as CEO, I had override access. Inside were draft proposals, corporate structure documents, and detailed plans for what looked like a company rebrand. My company's rebrand. Except my name wasn't anywhere in the documentation. I scrolled through file after file, my hands growing colder with each discovery. Then I found it. An email draft to our board of directors, saved but never sent. Following the proposed restructuring, leadership will transition to myself and Derek King with immediate effect. We believe this change will better position Prism Creative for future growth. My phone buzzed. A text from Derek. "Hey son, hope you're good. Quick heads up, might need to push our meeting next week. Something came up." I stared at the message, then back at the screen showing Emerson's hidden folders. The pieces were falling into place, forming a picture I didn't want to see. My best friend and my ex-husband weren't just having dinner, they were planning to take everything I'd built. I closed the laptop slowly, took a deep breath, and did something I hadn't done since the divorce. I pulled up the contact info for Roland Sherman, CEO of our biggest competitor. If they wanted to play games, fine, but they'd forgotten one thing. I wrote the rulebook. The next morning, I walked into the office like nothing had changed. Inside, I was burning, but 15 years of corporate negotiations had taught me the value of a perfect poker face. "Morning, boss," Emerson chirped, following me into my office. "How was your evening?" "Quiet," I smiled, noting how she'd already changed into heels for her afternoon client meeting, the same Louboutins she'd worn to my wedding. "How was your family thing?" "Oh, you know, Mum's drama." She waved dismissively. "Listen, I need to discuss something about the Harrison account." As she talked, I discreetly pressed record on my phone. A new habit I'd developed after installing a monitoring app on all office phones yesterday. Legal? Technically, yes. Company property, company business. "Actually," I interrupted, "could we discuss it later? I have a call with IT about some server maintenance." Her face tightened slightly. "Server maintenance?" "Standard stuff. Security updates." I kept my voice casual. "Nothing to worry about." The moment she left, I called Athena, my attorney, and the only person I trusted right now. "You were right," Athena said without preamble. 3 of your senior staff members have had private meetings with Derek in the past month, and Emerson's been accessing confidential client files after hours. Show me everything. An hour later, I sat in Athena's office, surrounded by evidence. Meeting recordings, email threads, bank transfers, a paper trail of betrayal. "This one's interesting," Athena pointed to a transcript. "Phone call between Emerson and Derek yesterday." I read it, my hands shaking. Emerson. "Once the papers are filed, the agency will basically be ours." Derek. "You're sure she doesn't suspect?" Emerson. "Please, Sonia's too busy running the company to see what's happening to it." Derek. "And the ring?" Emerson. "Hidden. She'd flip if she knew we were engaged." The words hit like a physical blow. Engaged, my ex-husband and my best friend. "There's more," Athena said quietly. "They're planning to launch a competing agency, using your client list, your business model, everything." "Can they do that?" "Not legally, but they're betting you won't fight back. Derek knows how much you hate public drama." I laughed bitterly. He always did underestimate me. That afternoon, I made 2 calls. The first to Roland Sherman's private line. "Sonia," he answered, surprise evident. "To what do I owe the pleasure?" "How'd you like to buy my company?" Silence. Then, "I'm listening." "Full acquisition, silent and quick, but I have conditions about staff retention." "Interesting timing," he said carefully. "I just had a meeting with your COO and ex-husband. They seemed to think they'd be running Prism soon." "Did they now?" "They suggested a merger might be possible in a few months, under new management, of course." I gripped the phone tighter. "And what did you tell them?" "That I only deal with people who actually own the companies they're trying to sell." He paused. "I always liked you better anyway, Sonia. You're straightforward. When can we meet?" The second call was to my bank. I needed to know exactly how much ammunition I had. Later, reviewing security footage, I watched Emerson slip into my office after hours. She went straight to my desk, photographing documents with her phone. What she didn't know was that everything important was already gone, replaced with carefully crafted decoys. My phone buzzed, an email from Athena. "Found this in the deleted folder of Emerson's backup drive. You need to see it." I opened the attachment. It was an email chain between Derek and Emerson from 8 months before my divorce. "I can't keep lying to her," Emerson had written. "She's my best friend." "Just a few more months," Derek replied. "Once the divorce is final, no prenup this time, we'll own it together." The timestamp hit me hardest. 8 months before he asked for a divorce, while I was still crying on Emerson's shoulder about our marriage problems, while she was still holding my hand, telling me everything would be okay. I closed the email and opened my calendar. Time to plan a dinner party. Because some invitations are really declarations of war. Roland's corner office made mine look like a cubicle. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city where I'd built my life, my company, and apparently my collection of traitors. 60 million, he said, sliding the offer across his mahogany desk. Plus performance bonuses for key staff who stay. I studied the number. 70, and I want ironclad non-competes for anyone who leaves. Done. He leaned back, studying me. You know, they came in here acting like they already owned Prism. Said you were stepping back for personal reasons. Did they mention their engagement? No. He smiled thinly. That would have been an interesting detail to disclose. As I left Roland's building, my phone rang. The last person I expected. My mother, Iris. "Sonia, don't hang up!" I hadn't spoken to her in 3 years, not since she'd tried to talk me out of marrying Derek. "What do you want?" "Lunch, please."
"It's important." An hour later, I sat across from her at our old favourite cafe. She looked older, more tired, but her eyes were sharp as ever. "I saw Emerson last week," she said without preamble. "With Derek, at that French restaurant you used to love. And I watched them for an hour. The way he touched her arm, how she laughed at his jokes." She took a sip of coffee. "It was exactly like watching you two, years ago. Same restaurant, same moves." "Mum, I knew Sonia."
I knew he was too close to her, even before your divorce, the way he'd look at her when you weren't watching. My throat tightened. Why didn't you say anything? Would you have believed me? You didn't believe me about anything else concerning him. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Marcus, one of my junior copywriters. "Need to talk? Urgent." We met in the parking garage 20 minutes later. Marcus looked nervous, glancing over his shoulder. "Emerson's been having private meetings," he whispered, "planning to launch a new agency next month, using your client list, your strategies, everything. She's already approached half the creative team." "Who's on board?" "Tom, Lisa, the whole digital department. She promised them equity stakes." He swallowed hard. "She wanted me too, but you gave me my first job. I couldn't." I squeezed his shoulder. "Thank you, Marcus." "You won't regret this." Back at the office, I watched Emerson through my window. She was laughing with Lisa, probably discussing their grand plans. My phone buzzed again. Athena. "Got the preliminary contracts from Roland," she said. "But there's something else. Remember that audit we ran? Found some interesting transfers from the company account to a private one. Last year, while you were dealing with everything. The miscarriage." She meant while I was in the hospital, losing the baby I'd wanted so desperately, while Derek was too busy with work to visit. "How much?" 50,000, authorised by Emerson, signed off by Derek when he still had power of attorney. I closed my eyes, remembering those dark days, how Emerson had held me, promising to always be there, while she was stealing from me, sleeping with my husband. "One more thing," Athena added. "That private account, it paid for a ring. 3 carats, platinum setting, purchased 2 weeks before your divorce filing." The pieces clicked together like a poisoned puzzle. Every tear I'd cried on her shoulder, every secret I'd shared, every vulnerability I'd shown, they'd used it all to plan their takeover. My office door opened. Emerson walked in, radiant in her designer dress and hidden engagement ring. "Hey, sweetie, want to grab dinner tonight?" "We haven't had proper girl time in forever." I looked at her smiling face, remembering every lie, every betrayal, every calculated moment of comfort she'd offered while plotting behind my back. "Actually," I smiled back, "I'm planning something special, a dinner party for my closest friends." "Ooh, when?" "Next week. You'll be there, right? You and whoever you're seeing these days?" Her smile flickered for just a moment. "Of course." "Wouldn't miss it." As she left, I opened my laptop and began typing. "You are cordially invited." Sometimes the sweetest revenge is served at exactly 72 degrees, with a perfectly paired wine and the satisfaction of watching your enemies choke on their own lies. Time was running out. I could feel Emerson's eyes on me every time I left the office, tracking my movements like a hawk. The whispers had grown louder, more urgent. Something was coming. "The contracts are ready," Athena said, spreading papers across my kitchen counter. "Roland's lawyers expedited everything. Once you sign, it's done." I stared at the dotted line. "And the staff retention packages?" "Generous, except for our special friends, of course. The non-compete clauses will keep them from touching any of your clients for 2 years." My phone lit up with a text from Emerson. "Missing you. Lunch tomorrow?" "Everything okay?" Athena asked, watching my face. "Just memories." I showed her the text. 2 years ago, she held my hand in the hospital. I was bleeding, losing the baby, and Derek wasn't answering his phone. She told me she'd always protect me. "While she was sleeping with your husband." "While she was sleeping with my husband?" I echoed, picking up the pen. The signature felt like closing a coffin. The next morning, I announced a company-wide celebration. "A new phase," I called it. "A gala to honour our achievements." Emerson practically bounced into my office. "This is perfect timing. I've been thinking we need to shake things up around here." "Oh?" I kept my voice neutral. "How so?" "You know, fresh perspectives, new leadership approaches." She perched on my desk like she used to. "Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you about some ideas." "After the gala," I cut in smoothly. "Let's focus on celebrating first." Her phone buzzed.
Derek's face flashed on the screen before she quickly flipped it over. "Popular today," I observed. "Just work stuff?" She stood quickly. "Speaking of which, I have a meeting across town. Client presentation." I waited until she left, then pulled up the security cameras on my laptop. Sure enough, 15 minutes later, Emerson's car pulled into the parking garage of Roland's building. My phone rang. It was Sarah, my assistant. Sonia, you need to see this." "Like, now." In the break room, a small crowd had gathered around Lisa's desk. On her screen was a draft email, accidentally sent company-wide instead of to its intended recipients. "Meeting confirmed for Thursday. E says everything's ready. New company launches next month. Bring your signed contracts. Don't tell S." "What should we do?" Sarah whispered. I smiled, touching her shoulder. "Nothing. Just keep watching." That afternoon, I called an emergency meeting with my loyal staff members. The ones Marcus had identified, the ones who'd turned down Emerson's offers. "I won't lie to you," I said, looking at their worried faces. "Changes are coming, but I've made sure you're protected. All of you." "Is it true?" Teresa asked. "About Emerson and Derek?" "Yes, all of it." "That bitch," Sarah muttered. "After everything you did for her." I held up my hand. "What matters now is finishing this right. The gala is in 3 days. After that," I let the sentence hang. Back in my office, I found another text from Derek. "We should talk about the company's future." The audacity almost made me laugh. Almost. Instead, I sent 2 messages. First to Emerson. "Dinner party next week. Just you, me, and a special guest. Time to clear the air." Then to Derek. "You're right. Let's talk about the future. Dinner next week?" Their responses came within minutes of each other. Both yes, both eager, both clueless. That night, I couldn't sleep. I found myself going through old photos on my phone. Emerson and me at college graduation, my wedding day, her maid of honor speech bringing tears to everyone's eyes, hospital selfies she took to cheer me up after losing the baby, while Derek was probably in her bed. A new email notification popped up. Roland's assistant confirming our final meeting tomorrow. The last step before everything changed. I closed the photos and opened my calendar instead. 3 days until the gala. 7 days until the dinner. 7 days until I showed them exactly who they'd underestimated. My phone buzzed one last time. Emerson. "Can't wait for dinner. Love you so much." I turned off my phone without replying. Some lies don't deserve acknowledgement. Some betrayals can only be answered with action, and I was done playing nice. The invitations arrived on cream-coloured cardstock, hand-delivered to their respective offices. I'd spent hours choosing the perfect words. An intimate evening of appreciation and new beginnings. Your presence is not just requested, but essential. Emerson burst into my office minutes after receiving hers. This is gorgeous, but why so formal for just the three of us? Some moments deserve special attention, I said, watching her finger trace the embossed lettering, the same fingers that had worn my husband's ring while holding my hand through my divorce. You're right, she smiled. We need this, to clear the air. If she only knew how clear the air would become. My phone buzzed. Derek. Dinner sounds perfect. We have a lot to discuss. I bet we do, I thought, typing back a simple, looking forward to it. The gala was tonight, my last public appearance as CEO of Prism Creative. The hotel ballroom sparkled with expectations and champagne, while my soon-to-be former employees celebrated their unknowing last hurrah. You look stunning, Emerson gushed, adjusting my dress strap. Like a queen. More like an executioner, I thought, but smiled warmly. You too, Em. That ring is gorgeous. She froze, her hand instinctively covering her engagement ring. Oh, this old thing. Platinum setting, 3 carats? I kept my voice light. Funny, I remember Derek having similar taste. Before she could respond, my mother appeared beside us. Emerson, darling, could I borrow my daughter? Iris pulled me aside, her grip tight on my arm. I need to tell you something about Derek. Something I should have told you years ago. Mum, whatever it is, he seduced your Aunt Julia right before he met you. The champagne turned sour in my mouth. What? She was 24, just starting her career. He was already successful, charming. Her voice hardened. He has a type, Sonia. Young, ambitious women he can mould. That's why I warned you about him. That's why I warned you about Emerson. Across the room, I watched Emerson slip into the hotel's business centre. Through the glass, I could see her at the computer, probably checking on their precious takeover plans. Excuse me, I said to my mother, making my way to the business centre. I waited until Emerson left, then went in. Just as I suspected, she'd forgotten to log out of her email. At the top was a message to Derek. Found contract in S's desk. Meeting with Roland tomorrow to counteroffer. Everything's falling into place. I smiled. The contract she'd found was a fake, planted specifically for her to steal. The real one was already signed, sealed, and delivered. Back at the gala, I clinked my glass for attention. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Prism Creative isn't just a company, it's a family. I caught Emerson's eye as I continued. Family means trust, loyalty. Things that, once broken, can never truly be repaired. Her smile faltered slightly. But tonight isn't about the past, it's about the future. And I promise you, the future holds surprises for everyone. Later, as guests began leaving, Derek called. Great speech, he said. Very meaningful. Just wait for dinner, I replied. I have so much more to say. The next morning, I had Sarah send out the final dinner details. Private room at La Maison, the French restaurant where Derek had proposed to me years ago, where my mother had seen him with Emerson. Everything's ready, Athena confirmed. Roland's announcement goes out the morning after your dinner. Perfect. I checked my phone. Another message from Emerson. Can't wait for tomorrow night. BTW. Found the most amazing opportunity for the company. Can't wait to discuss. I bet you can't, I thought. Typing back. Looking forward to discussing everything. No more secrets. That evening, I laid out my outfit for tomorrow's dinner. A red dress, the colour of both passion and warning. The shoes Derek had given me for our last anniversary. The friendship bracelet Emerson had made in college. All symbols of things about to burn. My phone buzzed one final time. A group text from both of them. Tomorrow will change everything. Oh, you have no idea, I thought, setting my phone down with a smile. No idea at all. La Maison's private dining room looked exactly as I remembered. Intimate lighting, cream tablecloth, wine glasses catching the candlelight like liquid rubies. I'd arrived early to set the stage for my final performance. "Madame," the maitre d' approached. "Your guests have arrived." I watched through the glass partition as Derek and Emerson entered separately, maintaining their charade. He wore the blue suit I'd bought him last Christmas. She wore the dress from our last girls' trip to Paris. "Sonia!" Emerson rushed to hug me. Her perfume, the one Derek used to buy me, made my stomach turn. "This is so perfect." Derek approached more cautiously, reading my face. "You look amazing, son. Please sit." I gestured to their places, directly across from each other. "Wine?" "God, yes," Emerson laughed nervously. "Just like old times, right?" I poured 3 glasses of Bordeaux, the same vintage from my wedding. "To new beginnings?" They exchanged a quick glance before raising their glasses. "So," Derek cleared his throat, "you mentioned wanting to discuss the company's future?" "Absolutely," I smiled, taking a slow sip. "But first, how long have you two been engaged?" The silence was deafening. Emerson's hand flew to her neck, where the ring hung on a chain beneath her dress. Derek's face went pale. We, Emerson stuttered. 3 months, I suggested. Or was it longer? Maybe around the time you started planning to take my company. "Sonia, it's not what you think," Derek started. "Really? Because I think you've been sleeping together since before our divorce. I think you stole $50,000 from my company while I was in the hospital losing our baby. I think you've been plotting to take everything I built." Emerson's eyes filled with tears. "We were going to tell you." "When? After you launched your competing agency? After you stole my clients? Or maybe after you filed those takeover documents I found in your computer?" "You went through my computer?" Her voice rose indignantly. I laughed. "That's what offends you?" "Not betraying your best friend?" "We didn't betray you," Derek insisted. "We just saw an opportunity to improve things. By sleeping with my husband, by plotting behind my back." I turned to Emerson. "Tell me, was he already in your bed when you held me after my miscarriage?" She flinched. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like?" I pulled out my phone, playing the recording. "Once the papers are filed, the agency will basically be ours." "You recorded us?" Derek's face darkened. "I learned from the best. You taught me to always have leverage, remember?" The waiter appeared with our appetizers. We sat in tense silence until he left. "Okay." Derek leaned forward. "What do you want? Money? Shares in the new company?" "New company?" I smiled. "Oh, you mean the one you're planning to launch next month? With my staff, my clients, my business model?" Emerson's hand shook as she reached for her wine. "How did you know everything?" "Because you underestimated me. You thought I was too trusting, too naive, too broken from the divorce to see what was happening." "Sonia, please." Emerson reached for my hand. "We can work this out, the 3 of us, together." I pulled my hand back. "That's why I invited you here? To show you exactly how we're going to work this out." I reached into my purse and pulled out 2 envelopes. "What are these?" Derek asked. "Open them." They did. Their faces transformed as they read. Confusion, shock, horror. "You sold the company?" Emerson whispered. "To Roland Sherman, last week." I took another sip of wine. "The announcement goes out tomorrow morning." "You can't do this." Derek stood up. "We had a plan. Your plan relied on me being exactly who I was 2 years ago, the trusting wife, the loyal friend." I stood to face him. "But you created something else, someone who learned to watch the shadows for knives." "Everything we worked for," Emerson's voice cracked. "Everything I worked for," I corrected. "And now it's gone, just like your jobs, your reputations, and your little takeover dream." I picked up my purse. "Enjoy dinner. It's already paid for." "Consider it a wedding gift." "Sonia, wait!" they called after me. But I was already walking away, leaving them with nothing but their lies and each other. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just winning, It's making them watch you walk away. I made it halfway to the parking lot before their footsteps echoed behind me. You can't just walk away. Derek's voice boomed across the restaurant's courtyard. We need to talk about this. I turned slowly, watching them hurry after me. Emerson's mascara had started to run, and Derek's perfect suit was wrinkled where he'd gripped the table in anger. Talk about what? I asked calmly. How you planned this for months? Or how about the money you stole while I was in the hospital? That money was for emergency business expenses, Emerson protested. Like your engagement ring? She touched the chain around her neck reflexively. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I pulled out my phone, showing them the email chain I'd found. 8 months before our divorce, Derek. That's when you two started plotting. It wasn't like that, he insisted. Things between us were already falling apart. Because you were sleeping with my best friend. Other diners had stopped to watch. A waiter hovered nervously nearby. Lower your voice, Derek hissed. Why? Afraid someone might hear the truth? How you seduce my Aunt Julia before me, how you target ambitious young women and use them? His face went white. Who told you? My mother. Turns out she was right about you all along. I turned to Emerson. And you. Every time I cried on your shoulder about my marriage, you were already planning to take my place. I loved you both, she whispered. It just happened. Nothing just happens. You made choices. Every secret meeting, every hidden document, every lie, those were choices. Derek stepped forward, trying to intimidate me with his height like he used to. The board won't accept this sale. They'll fight it. I laughed. The board unanimously approved it last week. Want to know why? Because I showed them proof of your embezzlement. The unauthorized transfers, the fake expense reports, everything. You're bluffing, Emerson said. But her voice shook. I pulled out 2 more envelopes. These are copies of everything I found. Bank statements, email threads, recorded conversations. I'm giving them to you as a courtesy. A courtesy? Derek spat. Yes, so you'll know exactly why you're both being investigated for corporate fraud. Their faces crumpled as they read the documents. You can't do this, Emerson pleaded. We'll lose everything. Like I lost everything. My marriage, my baby, my best friend. I stepped closer. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? The question hung in the air between us. The same question I'd asked myself every night since discovering their betrayal. Sonia, please. Derek reached for my arm. We can fix this. I pulled away. The time for fixing things was 2 years ago, before you chose her, before you both chose greed over loyalty. What do you want from us? Emerson cried. Nothing. Not anymore. I checked my watch. The press release goes out in 8 hours. Roland's lawyers will contact you about the non-compete agreements tomorrow. You'll regret this, Derek called after me as I walked away. You need us. I stopped and turned one last time. No, Derek. I needed you both once, when I was losing our baby, when I was signing divorce papers, when I was crying myself to sleep. Emerson sobbed quietly. But you taught me something valuable, I continued. You taught me that the people who claim to love you the most can hurt you the deepest. So thank you for that lesson. Sonia, they both started. Goodbye, Derek. Goodbye, Emerson. I hope you're happier together than you were loyal to me. This time when I walked away, they didn't follow. Their silence said everything their words couldn't. They knew it was over. Their perfect plan, their future dreams, their carefully constructed lies, all destroyed by the truth they thought I'd never discover. As I drove home, my phone buzzed with the first news alert. Major acquisition in marketing industry. Prism Creative sold to Sherman Global. The war was over, and I had won. My new loft's floor-to-ceiling windows offered a different view of the city. From here, I could see the building where Prism Creative had started. Just me, a laptop, and dreams bigger than my bank account. The doorbell rang. Athena walked in carrying a bottle of champagne and a thick manila envelope. Have you seen the news? She kicked off her heels, making herself comfortable on my couch. Which part? The acquisition announcement or Emerson's arrest? Both. She poured 2 glasses. Turns out your evidence about the embezzlement was just the tip of the iceberg. The forensic accountants found a lot more. My phone buzzed. Sarah, my former assistant. Thank you for the recommendation letter. Roland's offering me a promotion. You saved a lot of careers, Athena noted, reading over my shoulder. They were loyal. They deserved better than being pawns in Derek and Emerson's game. The doorbell rang again. This time it was Roland. Hope I'm not interrupting, he said, holding up a folder. But I have an interesting proposition for you. I gestured him in. He settled into an armchair, studying me carefully. The transition's going smoothly, he began. But I've been thinking. Your talent is wasted sitting on the sidelines. I'm not interested in working for my old company. Not Prism. Something new. He opened the folder. A consulting firm. Global scale. Your vision, my resources. Partners? I raised an eyebrow. Equal partners. No hidden agendas, no secret meetings, just straight business. Athena picked up the contract, scanning it. This is actually really good. My phone buzzed again. A text from Marcus. Derek's trying to launch his new agency. Nobody's biting. Turns out reputation matters more than he thought. Speaking of reputation, Roland smiled, your story's making waves in the industry. People are impressed by how you handled it. By destroying my own company. By refusing to be victimized. By outmaneuvering the people who betrayed you. The doorbell rang a 3rd time. My mother stood there, holding a familiar leather-bound journal. Found this while cleaning, she said, handing it to me. Your business plan from college, the original one. I opened it, reading my ambitious 20-year-old handwriting. Create something that lasts, something built on trust. You did create something that lasted, Iris said softly. Just not the way you expected. Mum, you created strength, wisdom, the kind that only comes from surviving betrayal. Roland cleared his throat. The offer stands. Take some time to think about it. After they left, I stood at my windows, watching the sunset paint the city gold. My phone lit up with a final text, from Emerson's number. I know you won't respond, but I need to say this. You asked if we thought you wouldn't find out. The truth is, we thought you wouldn't fight back. We thought your kindness was weakness. We were wrong. I'm sorry. Not for getting caught, but for betraying the strongest person I've ever known. I deleted the message without responding. Some apologies come too late to matter. Opening my laptop, I began typing. Dear Roland, about that consulting offer. Let's discuss terms, but this time I write the rules. My phone buzzed one last time. Teresa, my former creative director. You'll never guess who just tried to pitch to my new client. Derek. Should have seen his face when the client said, Aren't you the guy who tried to steal his wife's company? Karma doesn't need our help sometimes. I smiled, remembering something my mother once said about karma. It doesn't ask permission. Neither did betrayal. Neither did revenge. And neither would I. Not anymore. I hit send on my email to Roland, then opened a new document. At the top I typed, Business Plan 2.00. Rule 1. Trust must be earned, not assumed. Rule 2. Loyalty goes both ways. Rule 3. Never let anyone make you feel small. Rule 4. Sometimes winning means walking away. Rule 5. The best revenge is building something better. Outside, the city lights began to twinkle, each one a reminder that endings are just beginnings in disguise. And this beginning? It was all mine.